Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
It's Friday, December 6, 2024. I'm Candace Kelly, sitting in for Roland, who is in California at the Frankie Beverly Memorial Service. Here's what's coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. November's job report did show some overall jobs added. However, unemployment for Black men and women increased. Economist Morgan Harper is here to discuss the numbers. We'll explain why New York prosecutors dropped a manslaughter charge in the trial of the former white Marine who killed a Black homeless man by putting him in a chokehold. The deadline for those who have Medicare is tomorrow. We'll talk to an expert who will explain why millions could lose their benefits. And if you want to travel this holiday season, we have an expert with some tips to make sure your trip goes smoothly. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
All right, hiring in the U.S. bounced back in November. Employers added 227,000 jobs. The Black unemployment rate jumped to 6.4%. For Black men, it increased to 6%. And for Black women, unemployment climbed from 4.9% to 6%. The overall unemployment rate rose from 4.1% to 4.2%. Now, Morgan Harper is the Director of Policy and Advocacy at the American Economic Liberties Project. She joins us from Columbus, Ohio, to explain the jump in Black unemployment rates. Morgan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Now, Morgan, we look at these numbers. They seem rather alarming, especially when we talk about Black women in particular. Talk to me a little bit about what is going on in the United States, in the world's economy, that is making these numbers move the way that they are.
Well, I mean, I think it's always important to note that we can't read too much into any monthly result, but this is an indicator. Every month things change. As we saw this month, the job numbers from last month were adjusted upwards based on new data that came through, and there was a lot going on in terms of people getting ready for the election and still dealing with the aftermath of some of these natural disasters last month. So there's always a lot of variation. So I don't think we should read too much into that. But overall, I mean, this was considered a strong jobs report, and that we saw that jobs numbers overall were increasing, that there was some upward adjustment from last month, and that even though there are these increases in unemployment, that's something more that we should probably continue to monitor. And if we see a few months of that in a row, then it's more of a trend. But it's tough to read too much into everything month to month. The other thing I would add just overall is, we should consider this kind of a baseline. I mean, this is the November report. We're moving into the end of the year. In January, as everyone knows, we'll be seeing a change in administration. And this jobs report is kind of one of the closing statements of the Biden administration and their stewardship of the economy. And the answer is that the economy is again overall in strong shape. I think we should all be paying attention now as to what comes in the future here, as we see new people who are going to be in charge of producing a lot of or maintaining a lot of these economic numbers. There's going to be new leaders that come in to lead the Department of Treasury, for example. There's going to be new economic advisors in the White House, new leadership of the National Economic Council at the White House, and of course the all-important Federal Reserve. There's still a bit up in the air about when or if a leadership change will happen there. But this is the baseline, and from here we're going to see what happens with President-elect.
Yeah, and certainly making a lot of people nervous when we talk about the transition of power in January. Looking at history and just in terms of your own opinion and research and what to expect, when that transition happens, you talked about these were the closing argument numbers of the Biden administration. What will be the opening argument, you think, when we transition to power and Donald Trump becomes president once again?
I think it's going to be interesting to see who his people are. There's often the phrase thrown around, personnel, right? And we're starting to see some of the folks that he's putting up for nominations for some of these very key economic positions. And for the most part, these aren't what we would describe as economic populists. He's suggesting to have a lot of Wall Street guys through and through who are going to be occupying these positions. He just named, for example, an AI czar that's coming directly from Silicon Valley. So these are a lot of titans of industry, and those are the kinds of people that tend to care the most about the performance of the stock market. But I think if this election showed us anything, it's that for a lot of the country, the stock market is not the best indicator of how their personal economic lives are going, right? And so, once the transition happens and we see the next term of Congress, that's where there will be confirmation hearings where each of these people will have to answer questions about what is their orientation towards the economy, what would be their policy positions, and we'll see if they can get through that confirmation process. And those will be, those are some of the early things that we're going to have to watch for in the new year as things get going after the transition.
I hear a lot of people talk about the fact that they can't get jobs. But, I went to Wegmans the other day, and on the receipt, it said, hey, we've got job openings. On many receipts I will come across on stores that say we've got job openings right at the bottom. Well, this talk that I'm hearing from people that they can't get jobs, do you think that it is real, or they are being super selective? And then my part B to that question, what are the popular jobs that are out there that people do seem to be taking hold of?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, it's kind of hard to say with any individual what's motivating their response when asked, why they haven't pursued a position. But I think you're right. I mean, there are a lot of jobs available. Wages have risen, but we have to look also at the quality of those jobs. I mean, a retail position maybe doesn't always allow for the flexibility to be able to manage other responsibilities that folks have going on in their lives. Child care, child pickup, etc. And if the job isn't coming with the right level of benefits, then it might not feel like a good use of their time based on some of those other responsibilities that they have to manage. So it's very important not to, and this is one of the fallacies really in the jobs data, is that, it's not always looking at the quality of job. It's looking at just absolute point, black or white, has a job been created? But that quality of job is something that we need to really dig into. And again, as we start to look to hold this next administration accountable, and really every administration accountable, that should be something that we're asking about. How much is this job supporting all of the demands of life and that people are facing, and the different costs that are coming into their life? And I'm sorry, remind me of the second part of your question, because I forgot.
No, just what's the job arena that seems to be a popular arena that people are saying?
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes. Yeah, this is what I was going to say, because, what we've seen over the last few months is a lot of the job growth has been driven by government positions and healthcare is very common. There hasn't been as much growth in manufacturing. Now that might change. A lot of the investments that happened during the Biden administration through things like the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act were investments or CHIPS Act, were investments for the long term that were going to lead to job growth in some of these sectors. The industrial policy that the administration was putting forward, that wasn't going to lead to an immediate bump in the creation of manufacturing jobs. So this administration did create, more manufacturing jobs than the previous Trump administration and in any administration in the last 20 years. But the real fruits of the labor of some of that industrial policy, we might not see until over these next couple of years. So it's possible that there are going to be more of those manufacturing jobs, and especially if those manufacturing jobs are union jobs, then they are going to be in the higher quality category and come with a lot of benefits. But, given that a lot of the growth to date, however, has been government jobs, that's something that we need to look to, because as we're hearing from the incoming administration, the next Trump administration, a big priority, at least as they claim, is that it's going to be about trying to streamline government and eventually potentially even eliminate a lot of government jobs. So Whether or not that actually comes to fruition, if so, how quickly, and just the volume of jobs and the impact, if there is some elimination of government jobs, or at the very least, it seems like it's not going to be a source of growth for jobs. That's something to pay attention to. And the healthcare sector as well. I mean, the healthcare industry is very much dependent on a lot of government policy. And so as, folks are looking at how Medicare is run, how Medicaid is run, that can have a direct impact on the types of healthcare jobs that are created. And that's something else for us to continue to keep an eye on.
All right, Morgan Harper, I want to thank you so much for being with us today, giving us an update about what is going on with jobs. It certainly is something that we all have our eyes on, especially as 2025 rolls around. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, when we come back, I'm going to bring my panelists in on some more conversation here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We'll be back after this break.
Henry Louis Gates says there are 42 million black people in America. Therefore, there are 42 million ways of being black.
We are not a monolithic people. We come in all different shades, sizes, everything.
For me, black excellence is the upgrade to any level of excellence.
It looks like a family who is beautiful and proud of being together, that have degrees or no degrees.
I like that it's creativity. I like that it's self-expression. I like that it's radical at times.
There we go. And because we've been through so much and endured so much, and
we're gonna go through some things, but we don't stay in it, And
the intensive labor to educate you about the systems your ancestors built is not always my obligation.
I promise you, you will love it, comrades. Join the community.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. When I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, to the record labels, or maybe a friend of a friend knows somebody that works for, the record label. And really, chemistry was my last ditch effort at being in the music business.
How long have you been trying?
I've been trying since I was a teenager. Wow. And I'm grateful that it didn't. I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry.
Hello, we're the Critter Fixers. I'm Dr. Bernard Hodges.
And I'm Dr. Terrence Ferguson.
And you're tuned in to
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
The judge presiding over the subway chokehold case dismissed the top manslaughter charge after the jury had difficulty coming to a unanimous verdict in the subway chokehold trial. The Manhattan jury declared itself deadlocked on the top charge against Daniel Penny, who was accused of causing the May 2023 chokehold death of Jordan Neely. The jury sent a note to the judge saying that they were unable to come to a unanimous vote on count one, referring to the second-degree manslaughter charge. According to the verdict form, the jury must first decide on this primary count before considering any additional charges, including criminally negligent homicide. The prosecution moved to have that primary count dismissed, making room for Judge Maxwell Wiley to order the 12-member panel, comprised of 7 women and 5 men, to return next week to consider the lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide against the former Marine. Here's some reaction from outside of the courthouse.
We saw the jury having a problem with the top charge. We saw a judge dismiss the top charge. But I want to take you back to jury selection. When they found a jury specialist who specializes in getting white supremacist killers off, who specializes in race-based jury selection. This woman worked OJ's case. She worked Kyle Rittenhouse's case, the person who bought an AR-15 to a Black Lives Matter rally and killed people. She worked that case, and they paid her I don't know how much money to come in here and pick this jury. Now, I want y'all to quote me on this. America is going to America. And this defense team and jury specialists knew that there was no way you could put 9 white people in a room that would find Daniel Penny guilty. They picked a white supremacist jury specialist to target the racists in that jury. The prosecution pointed out the fact that defense was eliminating people based on race. Let me take it back because I don't want to scare y'all. Logically thinking, if you pick a white supremacist jury specialist and you pack the jury with white people, obviously you think race has a significant role in this case, and obviously you were looking for that one white supremacist holdout. That one holdout. Might have been more, but there was definitely one person in there that said, I'm not going to convict this white kid for killing that poor little mentally ill Negro piece of trash. Forgive my language, but I'm proving a point. This is how they think. The defendant himself called Jordan a dirty crackhead. And the police let him go. The police found inconsistencies in his story and allowed Daniel Penny to walk free. When does that happen for black people? Am I not making my point clear enough? Racism has its tentacles all over this case. Racism has its evil tentacles all over its case and all around the minds of white America. Are all white people bad? No. The prosecution did a phenomenal job. The judge is trying his hardest to bring justice to Jordan Neely's name. But racism is still alive and kicking in America. There's no other way to view this. Everyone has looked at the case, and those among you who say that Daniel Penny is innocent have racism and bias in your heart. If you look at the facts of this case, then you understand that Daniel Penny is guilty. But today, white supremacy got another victory. Today, the KKK, the Klansmen, the evil in America got another victory. They got that top charge dismissed. America shall continue to America and shall continue to place second-class status on black people. And black people don't get your hopes up. I'm going to spare you the shock. Even if convicted of the top charge, he wasn't getting more than 4 years. We don't get justice in these buildings. They might throw us a crumb here and there, but we don't get justice in these buildings. And I dare you to show me a study or some case law to prove that, to disprove that.
I stand here heartbroken because I have to hug a father who knows that the murderer of his son will most likely go free, who has to look in the face of a jury that no matter the facts, no matter the expert witnesses, no matter the people yelling on that train that day to let Jordan go, you will kill him. They will not find a white man guilty of killing a black man in modern day America. This is no different than Jim Crow. This looks like a picture out of the picture book when you look at that anonymous jury. We have baby boomers who were there doing Jim Crow on this jury. We have young people who are looking at Daniel Penny as a hero. In what America is a hero a killer? He didn't give a crap about Jordan. The medical examiner said Jordan turned purple. Yes, black people can turn purple when they're denied oxygen. Every lab report showed he died of asphyxiation. And that doesn't matter because they want to spare a white man the penalty of his crimes. America has not changed, and I hate to say it, it may never change. And people who keep asking, are we going to riot? Are we going to protest? Is that what's needed? Do glass have to break? Do cars have to burn for a black man to get justice in America? We can't show up with peace. We can't show up with facts. We can't show up with evidence and witness after witness. You give us nothing. And then you ask us to love this country. America hates black people, and we see it from that jury pool.
All right, certainly a lot of passion there. But meanwhile, Jordan's father, Andre Zachary, filed a civil lawsuit against Penny for negligent contact, assault, and battery that he says led to Neely's death. The New York medical examiner concluded it was Penny's chokehold that killed the 30-year-old. Neely's father is requesting damages, as the filing put it, in such sum as a jury may find reasonable, fair, and just. I'm now joined by my panel, Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network show out of Detroit, Michigan, Kelly Bethea, communications strategist out of Washington, D.C., and Matt Manning, civil rights attorney, comes to us out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Matt, I want to start with you because really we are talking about a jury that was deadlocked. Certainly a lot of people you could ask on the streets might call this man a hero. Plenty of people say that this man was certainly not a hero. Now we're looking at the jury, they were deadlocked. What do you think was going through their minds, even after the judge gave them an Allen charge, saying to them, go back, try again. You really need to come up with an answer here.
I don't know what was going through their minds. I do know that often the law does not work in the way that we think it should work, and I think this is one of those cases. But in reading the article, one of the articles in preparation for today, a fact I did not know that I think may have had a large bearing on this jury's inability to reach a verdict is the fact that I guess around that time there had been something like 20 people shoved in front of subways. I don't think that makes Daniel Perry's position in any way reasonable. But what you look at when you look at self-defense and when you look at, any defense to a homicide is you look at whether the person's use of deadly force, at least in Texas where I practice, the use of deadly force to protect themselves or a third party is reasonable. And I think, what may have happened is the jury may have been swayed by arguments that, it was reasonable for him to use this force because people on the train were concerned about what this young man was going to do. Now, I don't think that that's reasonable. I think, if he had actually attacked someone, if there had been a physical altercation, we'd be having a much different conversation. My understanding is that he was not physically attacking anyone. And that to me, which is, I suspect what the prosecutors did, I would have beat that drum in the courtroom and said, you don't get to preventatively assume someone's going to do something harmful and then protect yourself against them when it's unreasonable. Now, obviously, the law allows all the time where if your belief is reasonable that the person is about to imminently use deadly force, you can definitely use force to protect yourself. I don't think this is a situation where the use of that or the facing of that force was imminent and was reasonable. And that's what I really think is the primary question here. And as people, may know out there, all you need to hang up a jury is one person. So we keep talking about the jury, but it's very plausible that there were 11 people in that box who thought he was guilty of sin, and there was one person who was holding out. And if that one person holds out, then you have a mistrial. So without knowing how the jury, is constituted in terms of guilty versus not guilty, you can only extrapolate that there was not unanimity, which is what's required. And the last thing is, an Allen charge is a charge where the judge tells the jury to continue working. I think you said that. And yes, those are not applicable in every state. I think that obviously the state of New York allows it, but basically the court tells the jury, hey, keep trying, keep working at it. It looks like the jury was given 2 Allen charges in this case. And in cases I've tried, I've had it where, there have been mistrials declared where a jury has not been unanimous. So I think it might be the fact of people who had been harmed around the subways around that time. Maybe that was given outsized importance in some of the jurors' minds.
All right. And we don't have Kelly Bethea, but we do have Joy Chaney. Sorry about that. Founder of Joy Strategies out of D.C. Joy, I want to throw it to you right now to ask you, what are your thoughts about this whole idea that the prosecutors did ask for a lesser charge? They dismissed that top charge in order just to get something and in hopes that they probably will.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's normal, right? So, you can have multiple charges out there. If you feel like the top charge is too heavy, there are other charges, other things that he might be guilty of. And that likely happens. Sometimes the prosecution may overcharge a little bit in the jury's mind, but a juror might feel like, you know what, this fits a lower offense. I would like to say the thing when you say a reasonable person is it's not every reasonable person. So they look at what are the skills of the person. So what is true of a police officer, what is reasonable for them would be less reasonable for or more reasonable for all of us, right? So I think that they should have been looking at what is reasonable for a civilian, but who is a former military officer, former Marine with special skills, who should have had some indication of the pressure he was applying, the deadly nature of what he was doing, that he wasn't just subduing him, but that he potentially ran the risk of killing him, which ultimately he did. And then the fact that there were people calling out to him while he was doing this, saying, hey, he's subdued, he's suffocating here, suggests that maybe, that he was not acting reasonably. And so I would be really surprised, I guess, at some point we'll find out how many jurors, perhaps, I don't know what the rules are in New York, but many places you can poll the jury afterwards and kind of figure out what was the sticking point. I would have a hard time believing most of these people weren't very concerned with the fact that other people who also could be perceived as reasonable were seeing something totally different than the perpetrator here. Very disturbing, this result, but not surprising, and I'm curious to see what happens with the lesser charge.
Michael, the defense team has argued that, listen, there were women and children around, and that their client was making sure that nobody got hurt because he did have special skills. In fact, a martial arts expert did take the stand, though he did say that over 5 seconds was probably not a good idea for a chokehold. But what do you think about this argument that they have made that he was really defending the people in that subway? Because as we know, subways can be very dangerous. A lot of things can happen, but what are your thoughts?
All right, Candace, I think that question is for me. You're doing a great job tonight. I'm having a little problem with the audio, so I'm not exactly sure what you just said, but I've been paying attention to what's going on with today's development. So, number one, I'm glad you showed outside the courtroom where the gentleman talked about the white supremacist jury specialist, okay? Because in following this case and also looking at the video footage, and we talked about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered back when this originally happened and Daniel Penny was indicted. I talked about the fact that if you want to restrain a person, you do not put a chokehold on a person. If you use something like a rear naked chokehold, which cuts off the flow of blood to the brain, you can knock somebody out in 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Daniel Penny is a former Marine. Most likely, if he was in the Marines prior to 2002, he was trained in the Marine Corps martial arts program. It's called MCMAP. I've researched MCMAP. I'm very familiar with it. I have a background in martial arts. If you go on YouTube, you can see videos about MCMAP. MCMAP is a combination of 17 different martial arts forms, and the Marine Corps has compiled this into one fighting system. And you learn chokeholds, okay? Now, according to the article from NBCnews.com, he only wanted to restrain Jordan Neely. Okay, well, if you want to restrain somebody, you don't put a chokehold on them for 6 minutes. Okay, if you've been just through basic training, you learn how to kill people. Okay, so and you learn that you cannot have a chokehold on somebody for 6 minutes when you can render them unconscious in 10 to 15 seconds. So hopefully on the lesser charge of negligent homicide, he will be found guilty. Now the maximum penalty he can face is 4 years in prison for negligent homicide.
Yes.
The other thing is that if African Americans see somebody being attacked like this, an African American being attacked, especially by somebody white, possibly being executed, we need to intervene to break that up. It's one thing to be fearful of somebody and want to restrain them. Okay. Now, when you talk about restraining somebody, I'm not an attorney, but it sounds like, you do have, there is a possibility also when trying to hold somebody facing false imprisonment charges as well. That's a whole nother conversation. But this is this is a tinderbox right here. Now, the medical examiner said that Jordan Neely died from compression to the neck from the result of a chokehold. Of course, the defense attorneys disputed this, but this is clear how he died. So trying to figure out where the confusion is in the jury, this is something that we need more information on. But I would not be surprised if you have a white supremacist who snuck onto that jury and is holding out.
Yeah, a lot of passion in that statement that we heard. Certainly, we don't have any information about that, but it certainly is something that we will be following. And in the meantime, we'll work on that audio for you, Michael. Thank you so much. All right, we are going to take a break. Stay with us here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We'll have more of the headlining news affecting you when we come back.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. When I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, to the record labels, or maybe a friend of a friend knows somebody that works for, the record label. And really, chemistry that was my last-ditch effort at being in the music business.
How long have you been trying?
I've been trying since I was a teenager. Wow. And I'm grateful that it didn't. I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry.
Hi, my name is Freddie Ricks. I'm from Houston, Texas.
My name is Sharon Williams. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
Saturday is the deadline for Medicare customers to enroll for coverage. However, 1.8 million seniors We'll be without full Medicare coverage because insurance companies are dropping their supplemental Medicare Advantage Part C coverage. More than 3 million adults in 9 states will be at immediate risk of losing their health care coverage now that the Affordable Care Act's Medicaid expansion is back on the chopping block. Medicare expert Melissa Hall is here with tips to navigate through all of this. Melissa, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hello, thank you. It's such a pleasure.
Yes, you know, this is something that remains complicated for a lot of people when we talk about Medicare Advantage Part C coverage. First of all, can you talk to me about the moving parts here in terms of what will happen with the Affordable Care Act potentially if it is on the chopping block?
Fantastic. I'm so happy you asked. So, affecting Medicare right now is actually something called the Inflation Reduction Act. It is the new regulation that the Biden administration has passed that limits seniors out of pocket loans, okay, to $2,000, which is great. But the real thing that is affecting here is not what you see, this is what you don't see, okay? Due to this, they are making the start studies more for seniors drugs. Instead of the 25% that they were paying last year, now insurance companies have to pay 60%. So you have manufacturers are having to pay more this year. So what do you think they're doing about it?
You know, Melissa, I just wanted to jump in right here because we're having a few audio problems on either your end or our end, but we are going to work on that for a couple of minutes. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a little break. We want to make sure that the audience can hear exactly what you're saying because the information that you have is so important. So put a bookmark and we are going to take a quick break and we'll have more on Medicare and what you need to be doing with tomorrow looming.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. You know, when I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You know, you record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, you know, to the record labels, or maybe somebody, a friend of a friend, knows somebody that works for, you know, the record label. And really, chemistry that was my last ditch effort at being in the music business.
How long have you been trying?
I've been trying since I was a teenager. Wow. You know? And you know, and I'm grateful that it didn't. I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, you know, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry.
On the next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking all things mental health and how helping others can help you. We all have moments where we have struggles, and on this week's show, our guests demonstrate how helping others can also help you. why you should never stop giving and serving others on a next A Balanced Life here on Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
My name is Lena Charles, and I'm from Opelousas, Louisiana. Yes, that is Zydeco capital of the world.
My name is Margaret Chappelle. I'm from Dallas, Texas, representing the Urban Trivia Game.
It's me, Sherry Shepard, and you know what you watch.
Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
All right, we are back with Medicare expert Melissa Hall. I want to pick up where we left off, and I wanted you to touch upon what tomorrow means for everybody when it comes to enrolling for medical coverage and what we could potentially see with this Affordable Care Act potentially being on the chopping block.
Okay, absolutely. So tomorrow is the last day of the Medicare annual enrollment period. It starts October 15th through December 7th, and this is the time of year where all Medicare beneficiaries can change either their Medicare Advantage plans called Part C or their Part D prescription drug plans, or go back to original Medicare. It is a hard stop at 12 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So if you want to make any changes on your plan, if you want to get a new plan, tomorrow is that deadline. So you definitely want to make sure you give someone a call.
Yes, yes. The Affordable Care Act on the chopping block. Your thoughts on that?
Listen, so the Affordable Care Act is such an amazing thing that has provided coverage to millions, okay? If they take this away, it's going to be so many people who are uninsured. So I'll tell you, I got started in the insurance industry a little bit before the Affordable Care Act came into fruition. And it was just heartbreaking to hear people who needed heart transplants, who had a COPD, who could not get coverage for their insurance. And to hear that these companies would not insure them was heartbreaking. So this Affordable Care Act is giving people a chance to not just live a better life, but to exist, period. So it cannot go anywhere. And honestly, I don't think it will. Okay, I do think, now I will say this, the Affordable Care Act, it does need to be revamped. Costs are up, okay? Costs are up. The out-of-pocket costs on it are just crazy. The premiums are crazy. Just to give you an idea, me personally, last year I paid $183. Okay, with the subsidy for my plan. This year for that same plan, they want me to pay $382. Something's broken, it needs to be fixed.
You know, when we think about the Affordable Care Act, people can never overplan. If something does happen to that, what are the other alternatives? Or is that the reason why people are so frozen and that we really run out?
Could you say that last sentence again? We said out.
Yes. Yes. So in terms of the Affordable Care Act, if it does end up on the chopping block, what are the alternatives that people have to look to?
If the Affordable Care Act leaves, let me tell you this. They either will have to go through they're going to have to go through underwriting to get covered. And again, there will be a lot of insured people. There will be a lot of dead people. And that's just the bottom line. A lot of people are going to die if they get rid of the Affordable Care Act because these insurance companies are not going to take them. Let me tell you something. The average hospital stay is costing over $50,000 a day. If an insurance company knows that you're a person who constantly is going to the hospital, you're a big risk. Why would they take you? If there's no law instilling that, we've seen it happen before. It can't go anywhere. And one of the things, just to let you know here, the Affordable Care Act affects people who are 65 and younger. What is affecting seniors right now is something called the Inflation Reduction Act. The Inflation Reduction Act was a measure passed by the current administration that is supposed to cut seniors' out-of-pocket drug costs to $2,000, which is amazing. And that is the big change that we're seeing. But the real change is what we are not seeing. In order to, yes, ma'am. So in order to be able to afford that cap on the drugs, they are increasing the amount of money that insurance companies have to pay from about 25% to about 60%, and also the drug manufacturers. Now, like I said, the story here is what you don't see, which are plans leaving, okay, that 1.8 million people, okay, will know their plans are not renewing across the nation, all right? Also, too, the out-of-pocket costs are up on almost every Medicare Advantage Part C plan, which over 30 million people are on. 54% of the 64 million Medicare beneficiaries are on these plans, and their out-of-pocket costs are going up. So from about $4,000, I'm seeing it max out to $9,300. It's scary.
Wow. Yeah, Melissa, great information, not very comforting. I want to bring in my panel here. We've got Joy. I want to start with you. A question for Melissa.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for this. One of the things that we are concerned about is, yes, Affordable Care Act is at risk. The Affordable Care Act itself is very popular. And we have seen in the past that Republicans have not been able to repeal it. But what they can do is to make it more difficult to administer. They can whittle away at it. They can also whittle away at Medicaid coverage. So we know that one of the things that are at risk significantly is Medicaid, right? So that means, a range of things, including limiting Medicaid expansion, which means that millions of people who are covered now won't be covered, perhaps if we roll back on that. So instead of us talking about just the dire of getting rid of ACA, what are the other things that have been promised that would undermine ACA and then take those problems you just talked about where we're already seeing increased costs even worse?
Okay, well, I just want to say something here, and it might surprise you all, but the Trump administration that is coming in, now, when it comes to the ACA, that's totally different. If they take away the subsidies and everything, people will not be insured, okay? And that will be terrible. But when it comes to Medicare, the Trump administration might have it right this time. They might have it right because currently for Medicare, the biggest thing that is hurting it is over-regulation. And Dr. Oz is going to be the new head of CMS, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, that controls Medicare, which I think is fabulous because he knows both sides of the coin. He's a doctor, so he knows how it is to just want to practice medicine, but he is also, a spokesperson for Medicare Advantage, again, the service that insures over 54% of Medicare beneficiaries. He wants to give that system more money because right now the current administration is taking away the money, and that is why the costs are going up and our seniors are getting hurt. So, but contrary to popular belief, this may be a very good thing for the future of healthcare.
I'm going to counter you on that. Well, one, just process-wise for everyone to know, Dr. Oz has to be confirmed. But the current administrator, Shakita Bruce LaSure, and President Biden have put a lot of money into Medicare. One of the things that they have done is actually increase drug price negotiation so that we can lower the cost of drugs for seniors. There are also a lot of things in the IRA that are aimed at making more seniors eligible for cheaper coverage, right? So same benefits, but for less. So we definitely want our viewers not to be confused and to make sure that those things, those gains are still there. But the fact of the matter is insurance companies we want to hold them accountable so that they're not getting all profits and that they are actually covering people and not just running up costs on them. And that is one of the concerns that we have had. And what the IRA has done is to seek to shore up Medicare, make sure there are more affordable options. So just want to be clear to your viewers about that. And frankly, Dr. Oz hasn't said much about what he's going to do, and he has to be confirmed and go through a whole confirmation process. And our concerns aren't just on Medicare, they're also on Medicaid.
Okay, you know what? You're absolutely right, Joy. But I would like to add to this conversation as somebody who's actually servicing seniors every day with these new plans that the Biden administration, has interjected and, put this money in and made these caps and so-called gave the power to negotiate, right? I would like to say, I always say this, politicians are not actuaries. Okay, politicians are not actuaries, and what has happened? It's because the insurance companies, because their profits are being cut. Okay, and also it's not just that has to do with negotiating the drug prices. There are a lot of regulations that these plans have to go through from the government in order to administer that is costing a lot of money. For example, if a senior wants to go ahead and they say, hey, I want to talk to you, right? Unless it's 3 days before the enrollment period ends like today, you have to wait 2 days to talk to them. Okay, a lot can happen in 2 days in a senior's life. Also, because of this whole Inflation Reduction Act, a lot of the drugs that were affordable for the insurance companies to cover seniors with are actually being taken away from the plans. Insurance companies are actually having to raise their costs to be able to cover beneficiaries as well, and have the operational costs, the overhead costs, and also to comply with these regulations. And again, I just want to let you know, due to this, because this all open enrollment starts October 15th, okay? Right before the election we were actually going to go vote. The insurance company's cost to administer Part D plans went up over 50%. The current administration was very nervous about that impacting their number one voting bloc. So all of a sudden, they try to give out subsidies very quietly for these insurance companies to lower their costs for the next 3 years. Okay, they are trying to do a good thing, but it is really not working. And our seniors are getting hurt.
Which is it? They lowered costs or they didn't? I mean, seriously,
they did it.
I mean, seriously, have
they didn't lower costs. It's not working. That's why I'm here.
All I'm saying is insurance companies are part of the problem.
Let me go to Matt at this point, because I do want to make sure that our panelists get their thoughts in with Melissa. Matt, let me turn the floor over to you for Melissa, a question.
Yeah, I'm clearly the least qualified person to be on this panel. Here's my question. The question is, I saw that basically the expansion raises the amount that states, I guess, pay for people who are up to 38% of the poverty level. This is going to retract that down by something to like 20 million people. So my question is, what happens for that group of people in between the federal poverty line and the ones who are 138% above that? Are they going to just be covered by EMTALA or by state programs? What happens to their coverage?
Sure, Matt. I think what you're referencing is something called Extra Help. And what Extra Help is a government-funded program that limits out-of-pocket costs for copays for seniors' drugs to like $9 a medication. And they raise that to 138% above the poverty line, which is amazing. Because believe it or not, currently, if a person makes, let's say they're a single person and makes over $2,500, they're not eligible to get any help, which when the average one-bedroom rent is $1,500. So that's amazing. If any changes comes to that, it would definitely be detrimental. I haven't heard anything where the upcoming administration is planning on changing that, again, because that is through Medicare, not through Medicaid, and those are two separate entities.
Yeah,
Can I refine my
25 on that.
Okay, was that to me, Candace? Okay.
Yes, Mike, question for Melissa.
Okay, hello, Melissa. So my question was, looking at this and looking at the piece from MSN.com on this, I remember back during the first Trump administration, and the vote took place in the Senate to kill the Affordable Health Care Act. And we know with Senator John McCain that had the thumbs down vote that saved it. But prior to that, there was protests across the country. People were organizing to put pressure on their senators to save the Affordable Health Care Act. And they were organizing, many of them based upon a plan called, from the group Indivisible. Okay. So have you heard any plans of organizing and putting pressure on senators as well? We know that even though you have Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, who are going to be cutting the budget and trying to cut $2 trillion, but the actual cuts come from the House and the Senate in the budget appropriation subcommittees, okay, for the budget. So, but have you heard any talk about organizing like they did to save the Affordable Health Care Act during the first Trump administration to be able to save the funding for Medicaid?
Oh, wow. As far, you know what, you are bringing up a great point. So I will say this, as far as per se, so it's two different things. Saving the Medicaid funding versus saving the Affordable Care Act, those are handled by two different entities. I will say that I did go to a conference last year called AHIP, American Health Insurance Plan. They administer a lot of the certifications for agents who deal with Medicare, dual eligibles, and we actually had a conference last year in Baltimore, Maryland, where we actually spoke to the head of Medicaid throughout the nation, and also we did lobby in Washington as well. Also, I'm a member of NABIB, National Association for Brokers and Insurance for Professionals, and we actually lobby at Congress, okay? We have something called, I think it's called Congress Week or something, or Lobby in Washington Week, where we actually meet with senators face to face to talk about the issues of healthcare, such as Medicare, such as the Affordable Health Care Act, to actually shore up these things and improve them for the citizens that are utilizing them and us as the brokers. Because let me just tell you, over 50% of insureds, whether they're for Medicare, whether for the Affordable Care Act, use a broker, individual broker who could be your neighbor or a person at your church, just like myself. So we actually do lobby on the people's behalf, face to face with these folks. So and I mean, it's thousands of us who are part of this organization.
All right, Melissa Hall, Medicare expert, I want to thank you so much for bringing us yet another spirited conversation that a lot of people need the information about. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered here live on the Black Star Network. Stay with us. We will be back after the break.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free to download, free to use, next generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Henry Louis Gates says there are 42 million black people in America. Therefore, there are 42 million ways of being black.
We are not a monolithic people. We come in all different shades, sizes, everything.
For me, black excellence is the upgrade to any level of excellence.
It looks like a family who is beautiful and proud of being together, that have degrees or no degrees.
I like that it's creativity. I like that it's self-expression. I like that it's radical at times.
It's in our DNA.
There we go.
And because we've been through so much and endured so much, and
we gonna go through some things, but we don't stay in it, you know. And
the intensive labor to educate you about the systems your ancestors built is not always my obligation.
I promise you, you will love it, comrades. Join the community.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Latasha from the A.
And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, so social media is in an uproar over the vague way the New York Police Department chose to describe the skin color of the suspected killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This is how Chief of Detectives Joseph Kinney described the suspect to the public in Wednesday's news conference.
The shooter appears to be a light-skinned male. He's wearing a light brown or cream-colored jacket, a black face mask, black and white sneakers, and a very distinctive gray backpack.
This is who they are looking for. Does he look light-skinned to you? We all know what light-skin means. You know, you say light-skin, you normally say a light-skinned black person. I do not see that. The man that they're looking for isn't light-skinned. To me, he looks like he's a white man. Listen, I want to go to my panel now. Michael, what do you think about this vague description that I understand with this huge manhunt that people are in an uproar about?
Are you coming to me first, Candace, because I'm light-skinned? Is that why?
You. Okay. I'm not giving you the whole segment, though. Let's keep that.
So when I first heard this comment, like the same day, pretty much real time, I was saying there wasn't a brother that did this alleged hit. When they said light skin, I said no. And then when they released the picture and I saw it, I said no. This is like a white man, and for some reason they didn't want to say it. Now, also let me just say from the start, as the time of this broadcast, from my understanding, he's a person of interest. I don't think he's been actually named a suspect unless this happened, in the past hour or so. So they said he's a person of interest. But this is like a white man. This doesn't look like a light-skinned person. So, there's a good article from AtlantaBlackStar.com that talks about this and, alluding to the fact that they didn't want to reveal that this was a smiling white male is being sought. They wanted to say he's light-skinned. And what that does is then also kind of puts a target on light-skinned men, okay, in that city. Kind of puts a target who kind of fit that description. That kind of puts a target on light-skinned men as well. But one of the things I think you may see, and Huffington Post had an article probably maybe about 10 years ago, and it dealt with how white suspects are oftentimes treated better than black victims. It's a fantastic article that looked at numerous news stories where African Americans were the victims of crime, and they talked about how the white-controlled news media oftentimes would talk about how it's so much out of the character of this white person to kill somebody. But then when it's an African-American victim, they almost want to blame the African-American for their own murder. Okay, so we need to pay attention to this.
Let me bring Matt in here, Matt, because you deal with a lot of law enforcement in your line of work, I'm sure. You interact with them a lot. I mean, could there be a strategy that the folks who are in the uproar about on social media may not be in tune with?
I mean, maybe. I do think this is a little much ado about nothing insofar as, they give often vague descriptions of people. However, I will readily concede they would normally say the person is fair-skinned, right? They would normally say light-skinned, which has a direct correlation in most people's understanding to be a black person. So I understand how people are making that leap. I don't think it really matters that much because I think they could have said just as easily this person is fair-skinned or white, it made it inclusive. That's often what they do, right? A fair-skinned person or perhaps a white person or perhaps a light-skinned African-American or perhaps a Latino person. Because phenotype we know does not necessarily mean race. All that being understood, light skin does have a specific connotation. When we hear light skin, we know we're talking about somebody who looked like Mike, right? Looks like Mike. But all jokes aside, we understand that. And I get people being angry about the perceived reticence to say this is a white person. Totally get that. I think Michael's 100% right. We've seen that with Dylan Roof. They bought the guy a hamburger, right? So I understand people's outrage. But law enforcement does often do this. They give a nebulous description close enough to what they think they have so that it kind of casts the net on people who are looking to see, okay, maybe this is a person who meets this description. So I don't think it's really that big a deal in my personal opinion, but I do get people taking umbrage because light skin in particular has a particular connotation.
All right, Matt, I'm going to quote you now to Joy. Is this much ado about nothing, as Matt said? Joy?
This is much ado about absolutely nothing. I see where Mike's coming from, but, him and my dad might be concerned, but, not trying to be funny. Much ado about nothing. He had a mask on at the beginning. They could only see a certain part of his face. He could have been a white, he could have been a light-skinned white person. This is what we've seen later on, right? So to me and actually I heard early on they were saying he was white. So I think this is much ado about nothing. Guys, we got bigger fish to fry, including on that last segment, there were a lot of half-truths that were shown by someone who was an advocate for the insurance company. We have to be careful who we put on. Just saying.
All right, listen, we're going to take a break right now. I appreciate this spirited discussion. Wasn't much ado about nothing? I don't know. We shall see, especially when this person is caught, when we see who the race of this person is. All right, stay with us. We'll be back after a break.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
Henry Louis Gates says there are 42 million Black people in America. Therefore, there are 42 million ways of being Black.
We are not a monolithic people. We come in all different shades, sizes, everything.
For me, Black excellence is the upgrade to any level of excellence.
It looks like a family who is beautiful and proud of being together, that have degrees or no degrees.
I like that it's creativity. I like that it's self-expression. I like that it's radical at times.
It's in our DNA.
There we go.
And because we've been through so much and endured so much, and
we gonna go through some things, but we don't stay in it, And
the intensive labor to educate you about the systems your ancestors built is not always my obligation.
I promise you, you will love it, comrades. Join the community. Hello, I'm Jamia Pugh. I am from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, just an hour right outside of Philadelphia.
My name is Jasmine Pugh. I'm also from Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
Faith Campbell has been missing from her Tallahassee, Florida home since August 29th, 2024. The 16-year-old is 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighs 240 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information about Faith Campbell should call the Tallahassee, Florida Police Department at 850-891-4233. All right. The Bahamas tells Trump they will not accept his proposal to accept deported individuals. Donald Trump's team compiled a list of countries to which it wanted to deport migrants whose home countries refused to accept them. The office of the Prime Minister wishes to address recent reports regarding a proposal from the Trump transition team in the United States for the Bahamas to accept deportation flights of migrants from other countries. This matter was presented to the government of the Bahamas, but was reviewed and firmly rejected by the Prime Minister. The Bahamas simply does not have the resources to accommodate such a request. The Prime Minister's priorities remain focused on addressing the concerns of the Bahamian people. Since the Prime Minister's rejection of this proposal, there has been no further engagement or discussions with the Trump transition team or any other entity regarding this matter. The government of the Bahamas remains committed in its position. Now, other countries, other consideration by Trump's team include Turks and Caicos, Panama, and Grenada. All right, on to other news. Affirmative action. A federal judge says the U.S. Naval Academy may continue to consider race when evaluating candidates to attend the elite military school, even after last year's U.S. Supreme Court ruling barring civilian colleges from employing similar affirmative action policies. U.S. District Judge Richard Bennett rejected arguments by Students for Fair Admissions, a group founded by affirmative action opponent Edward Blum, that the Annapolis, Maryland-based Naval Academy's race-conscious admissions program was unconstitutional. The decision marked a victory for outgoing Democratic President Joe Biden's administration, which had argued that senior military leaders had long recognized that a scarcity of minority officers could create distrust within the armed forces, which were racially segregated until 1948. Matt, I would say that this is a big one. We're talking about the Supreme Court. We're talking about precedent, and not that it's overturned, but it certainly is inching in that way in terms of what they did with this Naval Academy.
Yeah, and I was really trying to review whether the precedent was up until 2023 that one of the places that race could be considered was in the military. I seem to remember that. And as much as I deal with the Constitution, I should know that down pat. But my understanding is that has long been the precedent. And, basically when it comes down to a race-based statute, what you're looking at, or a constitutional challenge in this affirmative action context, you're looking at basically whether it's narrowly tailored to a compelling state interest. Obviously, there's a compelling state interest to make sure our military is diverse. The thing I think is really BS about that, if we're going to be honest, though, is that the place where it benefits the government, which is the military, to have a diverse, group of people, then the federal judges say it's okay. In other places where it's still beneficial to society at large, we find a way to apply the Constitution in a dissimilar way, saying, you can't be mandated to have some kind of quota, or basically diversity in other contexts is not as compelling an interest as it is in the military. I understand from a national defense standpoint, but my point is it just seems a bit self-serving to say it's okay in the military, everywhere else it's a problem. Notwithstanding the standing issues as it relates to Edward Blum and all these attacks that they're lodging, I think it's just a matter of pushing ideology and not really having an injury in fact. Notwithstanding all of that, I do think that it's the right decision, because I think we do need a diverse military, and we need a military where there is incentive for any person of color, non-white person, to go in and have a fair chance to go up the ranks. So I do think that's in our national interest. I just think we're not applying the law in a way that is equitable as between the public and private sector when we make a carve out for the military in this way.
Joy, this federal judge, Judge Bennett, said that it was for the safety, it was for diversity, and that you're serving a population that includes the whole country. So why not have those people who are serving look like the country that it is serving? Certainly, I think that this was a big step in the right direction. But like Matt said, interesting that they would parse this out and make this a kind of a separate category when we're really talking about institutions that teach, whether it's information about the military and moving up the ranks, or whether it's Harvard University. But now we have these two different ideas about how to approach affirmative action.
Yes, let us be clear. This is not a surprising decision. It's the right one, but it's not surprising. The Supreme Court, in its affirmative action decision from 2 years ago, actually had carved out and said that it was okay to have affirmative action in a military context. And that would extend, I think, to some of these academies. And Ketanji Brown Jackson highlighted how insulting and problematic that distinction was. As my co-panelist is saying here, the idea that when you are asking people to go and die for you, to go and fight for you, it is okay for them to be diverse. But if they are just trying to make it in corporate America, if they're just trying to make it, have an engineering degree, have a business degree, have a political science degree, have a law degree, like several of us on this call, in that case, affirmative action, considering race, is not important. It is BS, because my mother is watching. But you know what I really want to say, and it is wrong. And the Supreme Court has already addressed it, so it wasn't surprising. It was, of course, the right decision. And it is a reminder, we're going to be looking at this decision, using it as precedent so that we can make the case, the compelling state interest, the compelling interest of an institution to have diversity, equity, and inclusion in all of its work and including its admissions. But yes, it's outrageous. You can die for America.
Yeah. And, Michael, we know that as long as the military has been in existence, especially during the Civil War, we have not been able to exist in terms of the military without people of color in it. It's kind of a numbers game, and the insult is there.
Yeah, and when you look at the Civil War, it wasn't until the Union started letting African Americans fight in the Army that really the tide of the Civil War turned in favor of the Union. But when we look at this, number one, this affirmative action when it comes to the Naval Academy, this is the type of wokeness, quote unquote wokeness, that Pete Hegseth is saying he wants to get rid of. This is the type of wokeness that Project 2025 is talking about eliminating. The diversity, equity, and inclusion, things of this nature. So all of this is connected. And when you look at Ed Blum and what Project 2025 is doing, is talking about is really continuing what Ed Blum was successful in doing when he got affirmative action in college admissions overturned. And what is so insidious in what these people are doing is that they are, on the one hand, trying to suppress the teaching of the history of the past, especially during with slavery and the civil rights movement. But at the same time, they're using laws from the same period that they're trying to suppress the teaching of the history of to attack us in the present and the future. So with this case here, you had Students for Fair Admissions, Ed Blum's organization. When you look at the Harvard case that struck down Harvard and the University of North Carolina that struck down affirmative action in college admissions, they used the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of 1868, okay, to rule that it was unconstitutional. But that was created for African Americans, for the former slaves, right? So this is why it's so important to understand history and law and understand these attacks that are taking place right now. This is why that 2024 election was so important. A lot of people don't understand what's at stake here. They're playing for keeps.
Yeah, Michael,
Candace, can I add super quick?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
If you make it quick, sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say very quickly, I think Joy and Michael hit on something that's really important. So the military academies are incredibly difficult to get into. And I think Joy's point about diversifying corporate America, that might be really interesting argument for interesting fodder for an argument to attack affirmative action outside of the military context. If you look at the standpoint of, Ivy Leagues tend to produce an extra large number of people who go into the top ranks of corporate America. If the logic is here, we need a diverse military that comes from the military academies. The people who go into the military academies often need, a sitting senator's recommendation to get into the school. They're extremely difficult to get into. So that being the case, the logic should be the same, elite ranks that are coming out of these military academies. We have the same necessities for diversity in the corporate and non-military space.
Yeah. Matt, you make perfect sense. As always, somewhere Ed Blum is out there working on what his next steps are. And because of that, we'll probably continue to be talking about affirmative action for a long time to come. All right, we're going to take a short break. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered live here on the Black Star Network. We'll be back after a break.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. You know, when I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You know, you record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, you know, to the record labels, or maybe somebody, a friend of a friend, knows somebody that works for, you know, the record label. And really, chemistry that was my last-ditch effort at being in the music business. How long have you been trying? I've been trying since I was a teenager. Wow. You know? And you know. And I'm grateful that it didn't. I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, you know, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry.
Mitchell, a news anchor at Fox 5 DC.
Hey, what's up? It's Tammy Roman, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, so we've got Christmas and several other celebrations right around the corner. Have you made your holiday plans yet? Well, if you haven't, don't fret. We have a travel expert, Tamika Jones. She's going to give us tips to ensure that your trip goes smoothly. She joins us from Aurora, Colorado. Tamika, good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Yes, listen, Thanksgiving was hectic, those travel days. You know, can you remind us once again, Christmas, what is the best day to travel, not to travel?
So the best day not to travel, I would say, is like the day before Christmas, which is Christmas Eve. I would say it's not the best if you're looking to fly or travel driving somewhere. Drive in the evening. That's the best time. Now, believe it or not, traveling on Christmas Day is actually a good time to travel, whether you are driving or flying.
Oh, wow. All right. Listen, I know that you have some holiday travel do's and don'ts. Let's walk through them. You already touched upon it a little bit, but in terms of flying, don't fly the weekend before and day after Christmas.
Yes, unless you like crowds. And many of us don't. Many of us try to avoid traffic and crowds. And sometimes that is hard. But yes, if you can, try to fly Monday to Monday. I know people's availability as far as vacation doesn't always work out, but that helps. Monday to Monday, it's a lot less travelers at the airport, a lot less travelers on the road.
All right. So if you are going to travel on Christmas Eve, like you said, do it in the morning, which is key. Now, when you say there are different types of mornings, Tamika, let's be real. There's 3 a.m. in the morning. There's 8 a.m. 11 is still the morning. What's the best?
Okay, so if we're talking about driving, 3 a.m. is not so bad. Early bird gets the worm, and you will basically be driving into a beautiful sunrise, right? So a lot less people on the road. But we're talking about flying. Definitely, according to Expedia, it's best to travel before 1 p.m. in order to try to avoid cancellations. You know, cancellations, unfortunately, have been taking place a lot this season and actually throughout this year. So according to Expedia, if you want to try to avoid those cancellations for flights, fly between 6 a.m. and maybe before 1 p.m.
Yeah, and if there are cancellations, we know that there are new rules for cancellations. Can you quickly go over those in terms of what money we can get back?
Yes. So as far as the new rules, I highly recommend that everyone checks out the government websites to get more exact details, because based on some of the new rules, it really also varies. And so I'd like to give information out, but I like for people to make sure they do their due diligence as well. Because some airlines, if the flights are delayed for more than 3 hours, they are required now to maybe provide you a hotel if necessary, other travel accommodations if necessary. It's also refunds. But be sure to check out the airlines' websites, as also government finds out, to find out specifically what you can do in order to make sure that if you encounter like a cancellation, that what you're entitled to.
Exactly. All right. Make sure that you know that information. Let's talk about top winter destinations, whether you're just going there for vacation or a lot of people are traveling and having, Christmas elsewhere, celebrating holidays. New York, Los Angeles, Orlando, Tokyo, Zurich, and Munich. We're going to talk a little bit about going to Tokyo and these places that might seem particularly expensive. When we look at these rates, even to California, I'm here on the East Coast, it can be quite a lot of money. But unless you're going maybe Monday to Monday, is that where that rule applies here, where you can get a big discount on that ticket?
I wouldn't say big discount. I would say, according to Expedia, you might see a little bit of like a 10% savings if you are booking perhaps Monday to Monday. And also, one thing I like to recommend, and based on my own travel experience, is checking out flights on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Sometimes you'll see a price drop on those days, and even sometimes on Saturdays.
All right, let's talk about these holiday travel tips. Book early flights, book refundable hotels, consider purchasing trip insurance. I can't say I always do that. I'm always on the fence. I'm like, I think this plane ride is going to go through. Purchase or renew global entry, TSA pre-check, amen to that, or clear. Listen, I was in the somewhere, where was I? I think I was in Atlanta. And I was in the TSA pre-check, and someone told me that actually they had been in the TSA pre-check line, and it was still 2 hours long. I have never experienced that, but it seems like TSA and perhaps Clear and Global Entry aren't always 100%, but definitely better than going through regular.
Yes, I mean, 'tis the season, right? It's not. It just depends, but I highly recommend it. I have them all. I have Global Entry, I have TSA, and I do have Clear. But I will say, I have encountered a situation during the holiday season where those lines were actually longer than like the general lines. So what I did, another little tip or hack, is if you are traveling, let's say for instance with Delta, they have a Sky Priority line at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta. I went through that line. Now, I did still have to take off my shoes and my coat and take my laptop, but I got through within less than 10 minutes compared to if I would have stayed in that line. But I highly recommend Global Entry, TSA pre-check, and or Clear. They are the expedited screening services, and most of the time, they will get you through those lines pretty quickly.
Yeah. And for people who don't know about these options, when I say TSA pre-check or Clear or Global Entry, we're talking about applying for the right to get through TSA a little quicker. There are fees that you have to pay. They can look it up online, folks who are watching, if they haven't done so already. I want to know from you, Tamika, some of your past Christmas or holiday experiences that you really enjoyed, where you hopped on the plane or did it really right and made the most out of your holiday season.
Oh, so right now, as you mentioned earlier, I'm in Aurora, Colorado. I'm actually staying at the Benson Hotel and Faculty Club, but I had to chase the miles, or I would say chase status, to be able to get here. So what I did was, of course, I took advantage of my TSA pre-check, and I also have digital ID. That is another expedited service that's offered with Delta Airlines, as well as if you have TSA pre-check. Got through the line within a few minutes, hopped on a plane here to Denver, landed at Denver International Airport, and 20-minute drive here to Aurora. But here I'm staying at this beautiful hotel that happened to have some good deals. I'm staying in this beautiful suite that is a Christmas holiday suite. So that's something that many travelers can look out for. If you're just looking for a quick weekend getaway or even perhaps a staycation, look for hotels that are offering some holiday themed rooms or suites to add to the whole experience, and check around the area for other pop-up bars or pop-up events that's happening in the area. So Colorado is near and dear to my heart because it happens to be where I'm from originally. So I spend a lot of time out here. But separate from here, I was just in the beautiful island nation of Fiji, another gorgeous location. Yes, it is phenomenal. And I flew from Atlanta to Los Angeles and from Los Angeles to Fiji. Now, one great thing that's happening with Fiji Airways is they're starting a new nonstop on Delta Airlines 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, as well as Saturdays, I believe starting December 10th. So now those of us that don't have to travel so far to the West Coast now to be able to hop on a plane to Fiji, and it is absolutely stunning. And you know what? It's actually the people who are people of color, people who look like us. It's the hospitality they provide that makes the experience even more memorable.
Wow. Wow. Listen, if somebody's going to travel right, Tamika, it's going to be you. I want to thank you so much for giving us all these great holiday tips. Wonderful and great to see you.
So good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and enjoy your staycation. All right.
Thank
I also
you.
want to thank our panelists for tonight, Michael, Joy, and Matt. As always, good seeing you. Spirited conversation.
Thank you.
Great job, Candace.
Be with us today.
Great job.
All right. All right.
Let me just say on travel, Costco Travel, look into it. It's amazing. I just did an international trip. Chef's kiss.
Really? All right. All right. Costco, somebody's bookmarking it out right there. All right. Good to see all of you. All right. On another note, as we close, we told you that Roland was in California attending a memorial service for Frankie Beverly, who died in September. Roland sat down with the music maestro years ago, and here's that simply amazing conversation with Frankie Beverly.
Another special edition of News One Now, a conversation with the front man of one of the most prolific bands in modern music history, Frankie Beverly. We'll chat about his musical roots, the evolution of Maze, the unique relationship Maze has with a loyal African-American fan base, and the foundation for their illustrious music career. For 40 years, Frankie Beverly has been the voice behind the band's amazing, unfiltered soul and funk. And with mega hits like Happy Feelings, Golden Time of Day, and Before I Let Go, their infectious rhythms have stood the test of time more than most musicians will see in a lifetime. Maze has never won a Grammy Award, American Music Award, a Soul Train Award, or experienced mainstream success, but the band has endeared themselves to a devoted African-American fan base. And no barbecue, no family reunion or wedding is complete without their music at the family get-together. Armed with his arsenal of music anthems and broad spectrum of musical influences, Frankie Beverly is the creative spark of this phenomenon. He's simply, along with Maze, amazing.
Music that is always always been a part of the movement socially, what's been going on. They do feel-good music, but they also do soul music that speaks to the generation. It speaks to what's going on in the news socially. I think we need to kind of get back to that too. I think the audience needs to understand that us as artists not only do what we do because we love what we do, but we use this as a platform to get a message told as well. And I think Frankie Beverly and Maze do that.
Frankie Beverly and Maze are road warriors. They're always out there gigging. I mean, you can't pick up a newspaper or anything out without seeing Frankie Beverly and Maze, Frankie Beverly and Maze everywhere in the world ever since they've been going. You know, they're the kind of group that back in the day, R&B groups wanted to be like.
The fact that he hasn't made an album in like 52 years and it still resonates with us is it just shows you it's real music, real instruments, and it comes from his soul. If you ever seen him perform, it's from his soul, it's his gut. Like, I've seen him at least 15 times, and he's probably performed over 800,000 times. And every time I've seen him, he acts like the song, like probably the first day he ever wrote or performed the song. It's so real.
I mean, I remember growing up and, you know, my parents playing it in the house and also just going to so many jazz, like Sinbad's jazz festivals. I used to go to that and Sinbad would have them there. And it just brings back great memories of good R&B, you know what I mean?
Favorite Frankie Beverly and Maze song of all time is Golden Time of the Day. And it's because I'm a sunrise person, but I also love the sunset. So that song just puts me into a whole nother space and like really kind of gets me into a vacation or a chill out mode no matter where I'm at.
Frankie Beverly, what's happening?
Hey man, you know, hanging in there.
Y'all good?
Hanging in there.
Y'all been at this thing a long time. Yeah. And what's interesting is, and I'll never forget, you were performing in Dallas, and Gap Band came up before you guys came on, and you came out there and you said, hey, we're working on this new album. And the whole audience cracked up laughing. They just cracked up laughing like, man, whatever. You know what? Sing what we know.
Yeah, you know, that is true. And it's a deeper relationship between Maze and their people. I can't put my finger on it, but I recognize it and I see it. So that's why they don't care. Yes, they want something new, but it's not the old record business kind of thing. Hey, you better put something out soon, otherwise people will forget you and blah. But that never happened with us. So, and it's turned into what you see now. It amazes me to this day, man.
The reason why I like Joy and Pain is because that's what their music is. Their music is about happiness. Their music is about sadness. It's about reflection. It makes you feel good. It evokes emotions. And, you know, it's not bad backyard barbecue music. Yeah, we love Frankie Beverly and Maze.
One of the reasons we love art as a collective, as humanity, is because we recognize the highs and lows, and we see ourselves in it, and Frankie Beverly and Maze is not just musical and lyrical.
Before I let go, I feel like, I mean, that's just like family reunion. That just brings back all the nostalgic moments in my head, you know? It's just like, that's the song that everyone knows. That's the cape. So before I let go, I think, so yeah.
You can't pick one. Everything about them is fabulous.
What would you say it is that what makes your music so unique that touches people in a different way?
Love. It's gotta be love. It's bigger stuff going on than this is not just us or me or something. There's some other things going on in the background. We have a helper that does this for us. I believe that. I'm a believer. I believe in Jesus. And it's about that, to me. It's about love. That's the difference between Maze and Maze's people. I look out on this, man, and I see people getting along. It just inspires
and multi-generational.
Just everything.
You got grandmama and grandfather and their children and their kids' kids.
It's just amazing, you know, and it's just enthuses me. I'm from I'm the ex-flower child. So this is like unbelievable to me. I don't know if there's another act
Oh, no,
this kind of thing has happened.
Oh, no.
I'm
being, look, I've told people, I've said this. In fact, I remember when I was on CNN, I said it too. I said, white folks got the Grateful Dead, they got Fish, and there's Maze. I said, it's just, they
funny.
come into town, you ain't even thought about a new song, I'm going. And you know you're gonna party, and you can bring your kids with you. You know you're not worried about folks being butt naked.
Right.
You're not worried about cursing.
Right.
You're not worried about any of that.
Right.
You know it's going to be about an absolute good time.
We're gonna get down. We're gonna have a good time.
Like sunshine and the rain, would you do it by yourself?
So when you're singing and the whole joint is singing the lyrics, and you can just stand there and just you can literally walk off stage, go get some water, go get something to eat. You can actually take a nap. Because all the band got to do is just switch the song. They gonna start singing whatever the band.
You're right. I mean, you're actually right. I mean, there's times when I'm hoarse and stuff, and that just saves me. The people just, y'all sing. Okay, we got it.
Sing it with all your might. Joy, well, and pain. Like sunshine and rain. Sing it with me right now.
Y'all paid to come here and sing.
It is. It's just unbelievable, man. It is, and it makes us work hard, and make us do everything we can to maintain this thing that we have.
I love Happy Feelings, though, because it makes me happy. And I think, like Melinda said, it's their feel-good music. It feels good. It makes you happy. And that's what I want in my life. And I think that's why they have such longevity. It's like they've been around forever. They don't get old or anything.
Happy Feelings. Happy feelings everywhere. It's one of those songs that makes you feel happy. When that thing comes on, it just automatically puts you in that mood, a good mood. And that's one of my favorite Frankie Beverly and Maze songs.
Coming up, my conversation continues with Frankie Beverly. We'll chat about his musical roots and his early career years as a doo-wop singer in his hometown of Philadelphia. Folks, don't touch that dial. Simply amazing. A conversation with Frankie Beverly continues right here on TV One.
I got so much in the Frankie line, man, growing up. I used to sing on the corners. They used to pitch me quarters and to sing. I sang every song, and they used to call me Little Frankie.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Frankie Beverly and Maze is I don't want to curse, but I really feel it. I just love them. I saw them in Vegas not that long ago, and I sang every song, and I'm like, am I dating myself? I don't care. I'm singing every song. I had the great time.
What makes them special is the fact that they've been able to have a career that lasts, my lifetime. I mean, not too many people get to make music that is gonna transcend generations, and their music continues to transcend, so it's great.
my favorite Frankie Beverly and Mays song, Before I Let Go. Been in 5 weddings in the last 3 years, and that's the perfect reception song. Everyone's on the dance floor, your grandmother, your aunt, your uncles, the kids. It's the perfect reception, family reunion song. It just sums it all up.
You said you are a former flower child.
Yes.
And people think in terms of Mays being a West Coast. But y'all didn't start off West Coast.
Not at all.
Where did this whole thing begin?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That is not West Coast. Trust me, it is not West Coast. It's a great city. Glad I was born and raised. Raised there kind of prepares you for what life is. Some of the greatest music ever. Down and dirty people, straight up. It's a good place to be raised because it really teaches you what you're gonna have to go through in life. And the same thing in everything you do. In music, same thing. I used to sing in the church till about the time Frankie Lyman came. It just turned my whole life around.
How so?
He got me. My name is Howard. My name is not Frankie. My mother named me that ugly ass name, Howard.
Howard Beverly?
Howard. I got so much into Frankie Lyman growing up. I used to sing on the corners. They used to pitch me quarters and to sing. I sang every song, and they used to call me Little Frankie. So.
And that's how you became
here I am.
Frankie Beverly.
I mean, this cat had me tooth and nails, man. He just turned my whole life around. That's who Frankie Beverly is, where I came from. Yeah, Philadelphia. Tried used to be around the town. Grew up with Teddy and Harold Melvin and all those, Cat Patty, all of us. We had a little different kind of little thing, and went from we used to call the Butlers. Had that group for a while. Made some 45s around, pretty good records, but it's just nothing. After we got going through, as I say, come through them 60s, I got out of the singing group thing, and I decided, and as a matter of fact, the group broke up. The Beatles broke us up. Some of the guys wanted to sing. The Beatles made some of the guys in the group, the singing group, think that we should all grab an instrument and do it. Just like I said, you guys crazy, So it really broke the group up. I was sitting around, I was living with a pimp, as a matter of fact.
You were living with a pimp in Philadelphia?
I had to, my father,
He's like, this singing stuff ain't it?
I quit a job, boy. I quit a job that he got me.
Oh, yeah.
And because we rehearsed late that night before I could get up and...
Oh, yeah.
Man, he found out about that when he got home, man. He came in. I said, but Dad, I want to sing. Go upstairs, pack your bags, get your behind. I'm telling you, my mother was, look, you ain't gonna put that boy out there. Go upstairs, I'm telling you, man, and put me out, man.
When Daddy said, we already gave his name up, so I ain't putting our son out.
They put me out, man. I don't care. I'm proud. But this man, if it wasn't for him, I learned what he meant. They coming up in the time, you better have a job, man. And that's all you better have, I know you can sing, but, and I had to learn that. And I learned it. Me and my father got tight as you could be. Took him to Europe with me. We you live and you learn, man.
I mean, I like a lot of their songs. I think it's impactful because it speaks to so many generations. I mean, they can work the same album on tour for the next 20 years. And it's great melody. It's real music. It's kind of where it all started. Frankie Beverly, the white hat, the white slacks, you can't go wrong with that. I grew up on that. That's how I got here, probably.
I've been to several Frankie Beverly concerts, and, at that point, when everyone starts singing, it becomes Frankie Beverly karaoke. I just think that his songs are just fun. You know, they're fun and they're vibrant, and you just want to have a good time. I think he represents that.
Does it ever cross your mind what you would be doing if you didn't sing?
Very little. It crosses my line. Very my mind.
The reason I ask that question because there are a lot of people who had a dream of singing, but they gave up. They quit. They gave in. They didn't persevere. And they may be watching this. They may have passed on, and they are 68, 70, and they have regrets.
I can't imagine that because that's what made me stay. That's what made me stay, man. And I'll say to anybody, don't you dare, man. Like more than most people, like you say, don't pursue the gift that was given up.
No matter the field.
The gift, whatever. All of us have a thing. All of us. And some of us know it too, and yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
We talk about instruments, we're talking about music, we're talking about doing you. But who do you like to listen to?
You know, where I'm at now in my life, I'm an old schooler. I like jazz more than ever in my life. I play a lot. I love Miles Davis. I love his temperament, his whole thing. But I will also go on like international stations and hear what other people do too. I'm not a hit breaker type thing. I'm not so much into that. I like all sorts of music. Yeah. I don't have, if I have to go with people that I really love, and I would have to be old school. You know, I like the older singing, the older Sarah Vaughan and stuff like that. Like I said, Charlie Parker I love too. You know, I just kind of really like that, and the great songs. You know, it's just more or less that than what today's thing is.
Laid back kind of girl, you know what I mean? Because I'm a laid back kind of guy, so I like a laid back kind of girl. And you can go Joy and Pain, you can just go on and on, you know what I mean? Golden Time of the Day. You know, every song just touches on everything, every emotion that's inside of you. And, you know, I always love seeing them in concert, and until the day they stop singing music, I'm going to continue to listen to them and continue to go to their concerts.
I'm not going to pick one. That's like picking your favorite child. You can't do that. Who's your favorite child? Come on. You can't pick one. You can't pick one. It's an impossible question. You can't. No way.
My favorite song, I don't know. It's a lot of them. That's kind of hard. After the morning after. Know that one? Oh, after the night before. You trying to get me to sing, huh? I like that one.
Next, the conversation heats up when Frankie Beverly breaks down being broke. So broke, in fact, that he had to live with a pimp. Yeah, you heard me right. Wait until you hear this story. Plus, the soulful singer Marvin Gaye helped him get his financial footing and bring Frankie Beverly and Maze to life. Folks, you're watching Simply Amazing, a conversation with Frankie Beverly right here on TV One.
He originally wanted to produce a record on us. And so years went by, and the man was taking care of us. He bought us new equipment, paid about a year back rent, because we didn't have much, man. We all lived together.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
So you're living with this pimp in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Well, I was distraught because the group broke up. So I didn't know what to do. He was a drummer, old drummer. This was an older guy.
Right.
Cared about me, really good, good guy. So, and he suggested one night, him and another fella, said, man, let's take you up to Eastern Pennsylvania. I want you to see Hal Melvin and the. I said, I know them, I remember them. But when I knew Hal Melvin, they were just a singing group.
You knew it from the neighborhood.
From the neighborhood,
not on stage.
Yeah, not on stage, but they were singing like the Dells. And saying things like that. And he had 4 singers up front and a 4-piece band. So after I left there, it gave me this inspiration to do what you basically see now, a band behind us singers. That's kind of was designed around what I learned from Harold and them. That was the first time I had seen basically that in this R&B thing. Harold and them had this set up too, and it inspired me to depths, man. Because I was like, the group broke up, I was, man, being whatever. And them cats, man, get up off your behind, man, get this thing together. And I put together 3 up front and 3 in the back.
And you were called?
I'd still called it the Butlers, though. Okay. Because it was my name.
Right.
So we went on, worked clubs. That's that act that went up down the East Coast and it made me stay true to that. Yes, as it went along, it got better. We decided to do this, we decided to do that. And now suddenly we changed the name to Raw Soul.
So Raw Soul.
Raw Soul.
And then you have an encounter with the sister of...
Yes, Marvin Gaye. We were playing it in San Francisco, went from Philadelphia to San Francisco, chasing a little dream, went out there, starved almost to death, But we still working in clubs. She came in and saw us, really loved us, told us Marvin was interested in a band backing him up that could open up a few songs in the front of him. So I told him, well, I'm not interested in backing him up, but I'd sure like to get this opened in the thing in front of him. Right. So, and out of left field, one day we're playing, and he's sitting in the audience in the club too. Really little club. And just loved us, man, just a sweet man. The Raw Soul thing, he said, man, that's the ugliest ass name I've heard in my life, man. Change that ugly name. You're not gonna make it with that.
So Marvin Gaye says, y'all gotta get rid of this name. Right. Now, well, y'all saying, look, we know you Marvin Gaye, but man, we like our name. Or did y'all say?
Yeah, a little bit, but we were willing to change it.
Some clique said, this is Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, we were willing to change the name, so.
So how did you come to Maze?
Tossing names around, it must have taken months.
Is it Frankie Beverly and Maze, or is it Maze featuring Frankie Beverly? What is it?
It was originally Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. But because of what we are, we're a unit. People know we're a unit. People can say Frankie Beverly, they still mean Maze. They say Maze, they still, but it's worked out.
I asked the question about the name because whenever I look at a lot of the unsungs on TV One, man, so many groups broke up because of ego.
Right.
Well, we didn't like so-and-so getting out front, getting all the shine and the publicity. And I'm sitting there going, man, look, if y'all getting paid.
Yeah, me too.
It does not matter.
Yeah.
How did y'all make sure you didn't have that drama, or did you? Where it was kind of like, well, you know, Frankie Beverly and Maze, we the band, and he out there. Versus, look, man, we all getting this check.
Yeah, I didn't have that. I mean, it was basically something I put together anyway. So there was a respect for that anyway. I mean, no, I never had that.
But how do you respond to that when you've known acts and they were phenomenal groups?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden somebody leaves, they're not as big as a solo singer, and you're going, you broke up a good thing?
Yeah, I never understand that. I mean, I don't want to mention names. I've never understood how certain acts that I remember sitting here in my own mind couldn't get that together. I mean, even if it's a question of, okay, feature him. Why not? So? I mean, it's you know, you're not going to get no less than what you're supposed to get. It's not going to change nothing. It is what it is. Usually those things work themselves out.
So Marvin Gaye basically touches you guys, anoints you guys.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, what happens? Now you got your name. Now you got the blessing of Marvin.
Yes.
Things take off.
Well, not immediately, because he wanted to produce us.
Mm-hmm.
He originally wanted to produce a record on us. And so years went by, and the man was taking care of us. He bought us new equipment, paid about a year back rent, because we didn't have much, man. We all lived together, and
How many?
About 8 of us.
8 of y'all living in one place?
Yeah. Marvin sat me down one day, Frank, hold on, man. You know I love you. Blah, blah, blah. Of course, man. Blah, blah. Listen, man, I can't do what I was normally trying to do. And you know, I'm an artist myself. I'm an artist. I mean, if I get a great song, I ain't giving it to you. He's short. You know, and I understand that. Trust me, I'm the same way. But he was honest with me, man. He said, man, I'll whatever you need, I'll help you. But man, you know, try to do your thing. You know, send demos, or, you know. He was very, very honest with me.
He was honest,
yeah.
But surely you were sitting there thinking, okay, I appreciate the honesty, but okay, what we gonna do now?
No, because we had kind of made a name for ourselves in the clubs. Again, you know, we had, you know, this thing that we've done all our lives still helped us maintain ourselves. So we were okay. I know he was a good man, and so no, I didn't even trip like that. We sent demos around, and wasn't even maybe over a year. That's long to have a demo floating around. But Larkin calls me one day. Hey man, you Frankie Beverly? Yeah. I gotta have this, man. This is the blip 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 and all this, man. You know, my then manager was with me, and I handed the phone to him because I had heard this message before. You know, I handed the phone to him, man. And he's talking, yeah, blah 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 blah, and I'm looking up at him. He said, yeah, and I said, is he serious? And he said, the first album, Larkin, he was real. He really was. When he met me, he was, man, yeah, this is the blah, blah, blah. He's always just like, wow, I hope I come through for this guy, you know. But no, he signed us. I had never produced an album, and I want to produce the album. Man, you can produce whatever you want to do, you know, and I kind of want to keep my publish, you know. You can have all your everything, man.
Okay.
Everything.
And that's God right there.
Didn't I say that?
Because that is not a music business story.
Hey, man, hey. This is for real.
First hit record?
First hit record was Wall Malone. Wasn't big, but the first album overtook any single that we put out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Happy Feelings was never a single. They left Happy Feelings on the album because that was like killing.
Have you ever wondered what the logo for Maze means? Well, you'll find out after the break when Frankie Beverly fills us in on the significance of the 7-fingered hand. He also takes me on his trip to stardom and shares why he thinks folks in the South have shown Mays so much love over the years, and why the band is America's best kept secret, although black folks, we know what the secret sauce is. You're watching Simply Amazing, a conversation with Frankie Beverly on TV One.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
To really get Frankie Beverly, aside from the many, many great records, is to be at a live Frankie Beverly show, particularly in the South, and watch the whole audience turn into like the most incredible choir that you never knew existed. So that's what happens at a Frankie Beverly concert. Everybody sings along. It feels so good. Woo! Thank God for them Southern girls and all that other great Frankie Beverly. You make me happy and all that.
Woo! So Frankie, what's up with the logo? So, 6 fingers, 7 fingers, what's the deal?
Yeah, it's actually 6 fingers and 1 thumb. Obviously,
That's a big hand.
Because there were 7 of us in the band.
Right.
And that's where that came from.
Yeah. And you're the thumb.
I'm the thumb. So that's why it's 6 fingers and 1 thumb.
So when folks get out of hand, you push their thumb down on them,
I got
and you keep them straight.
I'm a strong.
You're the taskmaster.
But yeah, and again, you know, like I said, that hand, if you go, that's a maze too. You can go all the way to. We had contests for people winning that, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So it all works out again. It all makes sense, and it all does its thing.
Well, it's worked thus far.
Yeah, man, it has.
All right. I guess you might as well stay with it.
Yeah, I think so. Think so, man.
All right, cool. Yeah. When did you really say, okay, I think we made it?
It was quite easy, actually. After about 3 months, maybe 2 months or something, I went down to the office down in the Capitol building, and I met with Mark, and we were just talking. Hey man, you ready to do a promotion tour? We get ready to put something. Blah, 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 blah. And he asked me, he said, how many records do you think you sold so far? Because I wasn't hearing a lot up in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't hearing a lot. So judging by that, a couple thousand, 4,000 or something like that. He said, man, you just sold about $200,000 in New Orleans alone. In New Orleans, the record had sold about 400,000 at this point. Something like that. It was really up and half of it came out of the New Orleans, Texas area. Yeah.
So
I was blown away with that. I had no idea what that was.
What is it about that? Because there has always been this unbelievable love affair between New Orleans and Mays, and you're right, Houston and Mays.
That's right. Very, very unusual, man. That's why I said, man, I'm blessed. This ain't me. This ain't just me. That's the way I look at it.
Earlier you talked about when performing, you said, look, man, when you had to go out there, you had to compete. Was there a particular singer or group who was on the same bill with y'all where you said, okay, we gonna have to bring it because they own it? I mean, Eddie LaVerge said whenever they would go out, it was the Temptations and the Four Tops and the Spinners, and cats were like, yeah, y'all gonna have to do a little something because we just hit the joint off.
You know, it was a few that was like that in my day.
Who?
Oh, the Commodores, War, oh my goodness, you know, the Fire, back in those hippie days, Slide, you better bring it, you better not be messing around. They embarrass you, you know, so, but again, all of that stuff winds up helping you and making you just like that. To this day, I don't care who's on in front of me or what they did.
I've heard so many different stories how a lot of artists today, they don't want that kind of competition on the bill with them.
Yeah, that's ridiculous to me. That's ridiculous. You're not gonna go nowhere then. You're not gonna, that's absurd to me. You gotta, that's what's gonna make you what you are, depending on you. This ball's in your court. You know, depending on you, you become a person. Eddie LaVerge, for instance, right now, Eddie LaVerge don't care who go in front or back it up. He don't care, man. And I know exactly what he meant. I don't care. I sometimes, if the show is too big, got 2 minutes, I don't even want to hear what's going on. I don't see it, the show anyway, when I'm in the dressing room.
Right.
But sometimes I can hear the show. And sometimes I just I don't care. I don't want to even care. I don't want to have nothing to compare it with. We just go out there and do what we gonna do. But I believe that most of us have this same gift, a gift that they can do that would change their whole lives if they hung in there. I believe that to my heart.
Is there any one song that y'all have done that has meant more to you personally?
One, no, but there are some that stand out to me.
Such as? We
Are One stands out to me. For just the title tells you why.
Right.
I believe that to my heart. We're all the same. Stop the whatever.
Coming up, Frankie Beverly tells me what sultry songstress he would love to share the stage with, and also chats about his unique connection to soul diva Anita Baker. Plus, he'll tell you why she's really upset with him. More of Simply Amazing, a conversation with Frankie Beverly right here on TV One.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Is there anybody you've always wanted to do something with musically, you haven't had a chance to do so?
Sade.
Ooh.
And I tell you why I said that, because I've always liked her music and stuff too, but I never met her. Never met her, and I heard her one day doing an interview and talking about, they asked, well, who's your favorite? Oh, Frankie Beverly, blah, 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 blah. I would love to tour, blah, blah. Oh, like, and we tried to put that together, but it was so hard. You know, she's, you know,
She's a free spirit.
I manage my thing. We don't have managers and stuff. So if I can decide, hey man, yeah, I'll take that break to get a chance to do boom, 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 boom. I can do that. She can't probably do that. They're gonna inflate stuff where it's impossible to put it together.
Right.
And she can't say nothing about it. But I believe that would have been a great tour, man.
Oh, we might have to hook that up.
I think that's just, wow. And I've never met her, but I heard her speak beautifully about us, and that made me at least try to put this together. And it got off to a pretty good start, but then then I could see what was going on.
Tell me about a song you've done that has a connection to Anita Baker.
The Morning After. I wrote that song for her.
Mm-hmm.
We had talked and she was talking about, why don't you write me that? And because that's like a woman's, she's the one that's concerned. When you do stuff like that happens, I thought from a woman's point of view, I thought that's what would be great for her. And when I got it together, I thought of what Marvin told me.
See, he's like, I ain't giving her this song.
I thought Marvin said the same. He said, man, if I got a great song, man, I ain't giving it to you. And I did the same thing, man. And it really bothered our relationship for a while. She didn't appreciate that at all. But I swear, man, that's what happened. Wow, man.
Have y'all made up since?
Yeah. Not like it used to be, though, but we have. But that's I did the same thing Marvin said. I sure did. Yeah. And she would have killed it too,
But you killed it.
Yeah, it was still nicely done,
Are there any songs you've done for other artists that the public may not realize you did it? You wrote it?
No, that's another thing.
You just kept all of them.
Just like Marv. That's why I related to what he was telling me. I thought even at that young time when he was talking that, wow, that sounds like me. I don't want to be. I don't want a label telling me, well, man, you better put something out there before Wait a minute, so and put something out there that people don't like, and you ain't ready to put something out there. That's what you're telling me to do, So I wanted to be always in that sort of a position with the music, the kind of music you want to do. That's very, very important, man. People want to mess around in that have no business in that. And artists, you do what you do. Do what you do. Nobody else does that but you. Develop your thing, It's over. It's over then. Because all you have to do is be you.
I used to talk about, to a lot of people, and they were always stunned by this, how phenomenal Maze was, yet never got recognized. I was on the internet one day and I went, wait a minute, they never won a Grammy? Soul Train Award? American Music Award? I went a Blockbuster Award? I went through, and it was stunning to me, again, this reaction, this love from the audience. And then y'all get honored by the Trumpet Awards. Was that one of the first?
That was the first.
That was the first major award.
That was the first.
Because I think it was three of you.
Yeah, me, Bug, and Rome. Yeah.
And
the original guys. Yeah.
Y'all were very emotional that day.
Yeah, it was. I think the audience made me more, emotional, because obviously at this point, that's not a big deal to us anymore. Yeah, it was like, it's a nice gesture and all that stuff, but when you wait this long, you've gotten over that. So I was more, it's nice of these people to do this. Our fans love it probably more than what we do.
And then you guys got honored by BET Honors, finally.
That's right.
And again, what I found to be amazing was this whole new generation of folks who were partying like.
Wow, man.
So y'all had stuff coming out they weren't even here. They weren't even. A lot of them were not even thoughts. But again, it was this multi-generational love and appreciation.
Yeah, this and it never ceases. It's like night after night. Because during the show, I was saying, how many of y'all seeing us for the very first time? Some places it's a quarter of the place, or that's a lot. And I'm like, wow, that's young people, man. I mean, I see them all up front now. I'm like, how do they know happy feelings?
Well, because one, I don't care who you are right now. Trust me, Frankie, this is no lie. I've said this to many a DJ where I've been at a party where it was boring, it was whack. I said, look at here. I need y'all to put on Before I Let Go. And I said, I'm telling you, this party about to get started. And once they hear that intro, boom, the party goes crazy.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. Man, what can you do with that? There's no way I can complain about any way this thing is going. We have done astronomical.
Next, Frankie Beverly opens up about battling vocal stress and how wearing all white linen outfits and his signature baseball caps on stage became his signature look. You're watching Simply Amazing, a conversation with Frankie Beverly right here on TV One.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
You've had to battle health. Your voice, that's your instrument.
That's right.
I interviewed Harry Belafonte when we talked about this when he had surgery and how that caused him to lose his voice in his singing career. Lionel Richie talked about that as well. That is that's a scary thought for a singer, and you've had to battle through that.
I've been blessed enough to almost been given this Billie Holiday thing. Billie Holiday had a wonderful, beautiful voice too. But her biggest music came when she didn't have that voice anymore. God bless the child, and when she had made herself find another way to get around this problem. As much as I've been singing for the last 50 years, I was 15 years old when I saw it. 50 years of this, you're gonna have some voice trouble. You're gonna have some. And the only people that don't get voice trouble are the people that don't work. The acts that don't work a lot, yes, you say, damn, they can still, wow, listen to that. They don't work. The acts that work, tour, all the time, you're gonna get voice problems. It comes with the territory. What I've been blessed with, man, is sometimes he works it out for me. And I've learned how to do this thing and still get you. I don't know how. All I know is this is very, very real. Some nights I think, wow. Because it comes and it goes. It's one of them things. It's not, thank God it's not cancer. It's not, it's just road rage.
Weariness.
Yeah, it's just
wear and tear.
You know, that's what it is.
It's a tread, it's on a tire.
It is, man. So, and sometimes it's better than what I think it's going to be. So I've learned Man, just get on out there, man.
I don't know how many times I've seen you off stage, and you got all black on. And then you got all white on stage. Wait, are you planning this thing?
You know, that was a people thing anyway. If you look back if you remember that far back, you know, but I had a bunch of stuff that I used to wear. It wasn't an all-white thing.
So where did the all-white thing come from?
The people, I would get off stage some places, you didn't wear white tonight, right? You know, people would say that to me. And I'm saying, what's the white thing? You know what I mean? So, and I decided, well, okay, if they want me in white, I'll just wear white.
What do you want people to always remember about Frankie Beverly and Maze?
That it's the real deal. That we love them. Our music speaks for itself. It's about, I care about people. I care about my brothers and sisters. People mean a lot to me. It's just always been a people person. I've gotten breaks in my life. And the one thing is just, you know, is this thing called love. And I ain't trying to be this corny kind of, I'm talking about love, real love. Love is the key. Somebody say love is the key. And that's, remember whatever happened, remember Maze and remember me for love.
Well, Howard?
Yeah.
Frankie, man, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
All right, man. I
always
appreciate
good chatting
it, man.
with you.
Appreciate it, man. You're
All right,
always
too.
there, too, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're always there, man.
So how do you put 40 years into 1 hour? Well, we certainly hope you enjoyed our effort to explain what is it about Frankie Beverly and Maze that black folks love so much. Their sound is certainly unique. They are different. I mean, imagine any other group not putting out a new album in more than 25 years. And no matter where they go, folks still show up and pack the joint out, wanting to get tickets to sing and dance to all of their music. We got one more treat, though, and that is, it was at the 2017 Tom Joyner Fantastic Voyage Cruise when the DJ played Before I Let Go, and he came out to the dance floor to sing to the song while he and I danced together to one of his signature hits. Have a great night, and be sure to tune in to TV One's News One Now every day, 7 a.m. right here. Have a great one.